Hi guys, how are you? All right, so Miss Donadio read last time up to page 36, and we talked about this quote in depth in on Classroom on when Pony said, "Remember, good readers always look back. I really couldn't see what socials could have to sweat about. Good grades, good cars, good girls, bad dress, Mustangs and Corvairs. Man, I thought if I had worries like that, I'd consider myself lucky. I now, I know better now." So we talked about how it's foreshadowing to something that's going to happen. So let's see. After the movie was over, it suddenly came to us that Cherry and Marcia didn't have a way to get home. Tubit gallantly offered to walk them home. The west side of town was only about 20 miles away, but they wanted to call their parents and have them come get them. Tubit finally talked them into letting us drive them home in his car. I think they were half scared of us. They were getting over it, though, as we walked to Tubit's house to pick up the car. It seemed funny to me that Socias, if these girls were any example, were just like us. They liked the Beatles and thought Elvis Presley was out. And we thought the Beatles were rank and that Elvis was tough. But that seemed the only difference to me. Of course, Greasy Girls could have acted a lot tougher, but there was a basic sameness. I thought maybe it was money that separated us. Thinks maybe it's money. We'll see. No, Cherry said slowly when I said this. It's not just money. Part of it is, but not all. You greasers have a different set of values. You're more emotional. We're sophisticated, cool to the point of not feeling anything. Nothing is real with us. Sometimes I catch myself talking to a girlfriend and realize I don't mean half of what I'm saying. I don't really think a beer blast on the red bottom is super cool, but I'll rave about one to a girlfriend just to be saying something. She smiled at me. I never told anyone that. I think you're the first person I've ever really gone through to. She was coming through to me all right, probably because I was a greaser and younger, and she had to keep up her guard with me. Rat race is the perfect name for it, she said. We're always going and going, never asking where. Did you ever hear of having more than what you wanted, so you couldn't want anything else and started looking for something else to want? It seems like we're always searching for something to satisfy us and never finding it. Maybe if we could lose our cool, we could. Yeah, it was the truth. Socials were always behind a wall of aloofness, careful not to let their real selves show through. I had seen a social club rumble once. The socials were even fought coldly and practically and impersonally. That's why we're separated. I said, it's not money, it's feeling. You don't feel anything, and we feel too violently. All right, so that's a main difference between them. There's a lot of difference between the socials and the greasers. That's the number one. And she was trying to hide a smile. That's probably why we keep taking turns getting our names in the paper. Tubin and Marcia weren't even listening to us. They were engaged in some wild conversation that made no sense to anyone but themselves. I have quite a rep for being quiet, almost as quiet as Johnny. Tubin always said he wondered why Johnny and I were such good buddies. You must have some interesting conversation, he'd say, cocking one eyebrow. You keeping your mouth shut and Johnny not saying anything. But Johnny and I understood each other without saying anything. Nobody but Soda could really get me talking till I met Cherry Valance. So they're really hitting it off, these two. I don't know why I could talk to her. Maybe for the same reasons you could talk to me. The first thing I knew I was talking about Mickey Mouse, Soda's horse. I had never told anyone about Soda's horse. It was personal. Soda had this buckskin horse, only it wasn't his. It belonged to a guy who kept at the stables where Soda used to work. Mickey Mouse was Soda's horse, though. The first day Soda saw him, he said, "That's my horse," and I never doubted it. I was about 10 then. Soda Pop is horse crazy. I mean it. He's always hanging around stables and hopping on a horse every time he gets a chance. Remember, horses are popular too because of the setting. You got to remember that too. People do it around here, but remember, they are in the Midwest, so it's a little more common. So the first day Soda saw him, that's my horse. I never doubted it. Oh, sorry. Mickey Mouse. So when I was 10, I thought the Mickey Mouse and Soda looked alike and were alike. Mickey Mouse was a dark gold buckskin, sassy and ornery, not much more than a colt. He'd come when Soda called him. He wouldn't come for anyone else. That horse loved Soda. He'd stand there and chew on Soda's sleeve or collar. Gosh, but Soda Pop was crazy about that horse. He went down to see him every day. Mickey Mouse was a mean horse. He kicked other horses, was always getting into trouble. I got me an ornery pony, Soda tell him, rubbing his neck. How come you so mean, Mickey Mouse? Mickey Mouse would just chew on his sleeve and sometimes nip him, but not hard. He may belong to another guy, but he was Soda's horse. Does Soda still have him? Cherry asked. He got sold, I said. They came and got him one day and took him off. He was a real valuable horse, pure quarter. She didn't say anything else, and I was glad. I couldn't tell her that Soda had bawled all night long after they came and got Mickey Mouse. I had cried too, if you want to know the truth, because Soda never really wanted anything except a horse, and he'd lost his. Soda had been 12 then, going on 13. He never let on to Mom and Dad how he felt, though, because we never had enough money, and usually we had a hard time making ends meet. When you're 13 in our neighborhood, you know the score. I kept saving my money for a year, thinking that someday I could buy Mickey Mouse back for Soda. You're not so smart at 10. You read a lot, don't you, Pony Boy? Cherry asked. I was startled. Yeah, why? She kind of shrugged. I could just tell. I bet you watch sunsets, too. She was quiet for a minute after nodded. I used to watch them, too, before I got so busy. I pictured that or tried to. Maybe Cherry stood watching the sunset while she was supposed to be taking the garbage out, stood there and watched, forgot everything else until her big brother screamed to hurry her up. I shook my head. It seemed funny to me that the sunset she saw from her patio and the one I saw from the back steps was the same one. Maybe the two different worlds we lived in weren't so different. We saw the same sunset. Pretty interesting. Marcia suddenly gasped, Cherry, look what's coming. We all looked and saw a blue Mustang. So think about that. Coming down the street, Johnny made a small noise in his throat, and when I looked at him, he was white. Marcia was shifting nervously. What are we going to do? Cherry bit a fingernail. Stand here, she said. There isn't much else we could do. Who is it, Tubin asked. The FBI? No, Cherry said bleakly. It's Randy and Bob. And, Tubin said grimly, a few of the other socially checkered shirts set. Your boyfriends? Johnny's voice was steady, but standing as close to him as I was, I could tell he was trembling. I wondered why. Johnny was a nervous wreck, but he never was that jumpy. Gotta really think about it now. What have we read so far? Blue Mustang. Johnny's making a noise. He's turning pale. Very, very nervous right now. So now in our charts, we got to think now. We got to think. We're meeting Randy and Bob. Cherry started walking down the street. Maybe they won't see us. Act normal. Who's acting? Tubit grins. I'm natural normal. Wish it was the other way around, I muttered, and Tubit said, don't get mouthy, Pony Boy. The Mustang passed us slowly and went right on by. Marcia sighed and believed that was close. Cherry turned to me. Tell me about your oldest brother. You don't talk much about him. I tried to think of something to say about Zary and shrugged. What's to talk about? He's big and handsome and likes to play football. I mean, what's he like? I feel like I know Soda from the way you talk about him. Tell me about Zary. And when I was silent, she urged me on. Is he wild and reckless like Soda, dreamy like you? My face got hot and I bit my lip. Zary? What was Zary like? I started to say he was a good old guy, but I couldn't. I burst out bitterly. He's not like Soda Pop at all, and he sure ain't like me. He's hard as a rock, about as human. He's got eyes frozen like ice. He thinks about pain in the neck. He likes Soda. Everyone likes Soda, but he can't stand me. I bet he wishes he could stick me in a home somewhere, and he'd do it too if Soda would let him. Tubit and Johnny were staring at me now. No, Tubit said, dumbfounded. No, Pony Boy, that ain't right. You got it wrong. Gee, Johnny said softly, I thought you and Zary and Soda got along real well. Well, we don't, I snapped, feeling silly. I knew my ears were red by the way they were burning. I was thankful for the darkness. I felt stupid. Compared to Johnny's home, mine was heaven. At least Zary didn't get drunk and beat me up or run out of the house. And I had Soda Pop to talk things over with. That made me mad. I mean, feeling a fool myself in front of everyone. You can shut your trap, Johnny K, because we all know you ain't want home either, and you can't blame them. Johnny's eyes went round and he winced as though I'd belted him. Tubit slapped me a good one across the side of my head and hard. Shut your mouth, kid. If you wasn't Soda's kid brother, I'd beat the tar out of you. You know better than to talk to Johnny like that. He put his hand on Johnny's shoulder. He didn't mean it, Johnny. I'm sorry, I said miserably. Johnny was my buddy. I was just mad. Oh, it's the truth, Johnny said with a bleak grin. I don't care. Shut up talking like that, Tubit said fiercely, messing up Johnny's hair. We couldn't get along without you, so you just shut up. It ain't fair, I cried passionately. It's fair that we have all the rough breaks. I didn't know exactly what I meant, but I was thinking about Johnny's father being a drunk and his mother a selfish slob and Tubit's mother being a barmaid to support him and his kid sister after their father ran out on them, and Sally Wilde's cunning Sally turning into hoodlum because he'd die if he didn't, and Steve, his hatred for his father coming out in a soft, bitter voice and the violence of his temper. Soda Pop, a dropout so he can get a job and keep me in school, and Zary getting old before his time, trying to run a family and hold on to 2 jobs and never having any fun. While the socialists had so much spare time and money, they jumped us and each other for kicks, had beer blasts and river bottom parties because they didn't know what else to do. Things were rough all over the east side. It just didn't seem right. I know, Tubit said with a good-natured grin. The chips are always down when it's our turn, but that's the way it is. Like it or lump it. Cherry and Marcia didn't say anything. I guess they didn't know what to say. We had forgotten they were there. Then the blue Mustang was coming down the street again, more slowly. All right, I'm going to stop there because it's almost 10 minutes already, and we're going to see when this blue Mustang comes. So again, remember, Johnny's very nervous. A blue Mustang. All right, we'll find out.